Access, I'm Wally, and you've probably read the blog Stuff Christians Like. Well, there's a guy that actually writes it. His name is Jon Acuff, and he's very, very smart and very funny. And so we have a new segment on the show called Dear John, where people write in to TotalAccess.com. You can see it at TotalAccess.com, and you can submit your question about Christian culture, your musings, your ponderings, or whatever about it. And John and I will sit there and go through some of the stuff that you've gotten in the last week or so. So thank you, first of all, for being on the show. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Wally.
And what did you get today? Like, what's your first musing?
Well, the very first one is from Susie, and she writes, Dear John, have you ever been distracted in prayer and started counting the number of times the person praying says God?
Oh, okay.
And that's a great question. I don't struggle with that. I struggle with counting just. As in, Lord, just hear us, just know us, just come here.
Yeah.
The just counter for me is through the roof. And also, I struggle with not trying to count grunts of affirmation I get during my prayer as kind of the scorecard.
Like,
Yes, Jesus.
Yeah, I always like when people say, Dear God, just please join us in this place. I think he's already there. Like, to me...
He wasn't at the door?
Yeah, like, to me, it's like he didn't have to be invited in. He kind of is everywhere, but it's almost like you're telling everybody else that you're praying to that, like, you want to make this really a spiritual moment.
We just took it up a notch.
Yeah, exactly. You've elevated the game a bit, but it's like, to me, I'm like, yeah, he's already here. That should be, like, the given. That should be the jumping off place where we're all starting from.
Indeed,
you know?
and I like when people say they put the devil on notice. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah.
Devil, you will not be at our bake sale. What happened last year will not be repeated. We put you on notice. I just imagine the devil at home, reading a Harry Potter book, watching some MTV, maybe Real World or Jersey Shore, and they knock on the door and say, hey, you can't come to First Baptist bake sale. You've been put on notice. What?
Yeah, exactly. Not again. Prayer is one of those weird things. Like, I'm a little upset with myself because I've gotten into this bad habit, like where at the end of the day at night when I lay down to pray, I totally disciple it. Like, I'll start praying and I fall asleep. And I wake up then like an hour later and I'm like, oh, no way. And so then I'll start again, back to sleep again. Like, I cannot go through, like, at night when I lay down. Like, I pray during the day because I'm really holy. But, at night, I cannot keep myself awake. I mean,
are you laying down under covers with your head on a pillow?
Yeah.
That is shocking you're falling asleep in that position.
Yeah, maybe that's part
Who
of the
could have
problem.
known that your body's been trained 8 hours a night for your entire life to sleep when you get in that position?
You know what? Maybe that is on me. Maybe that's my own fault. All right, let's get to another one of the letters that you have, and we'll do that in 10 minutes. It's Dear John with Jon Acuff right here on Total Access. It's Total Access. I'm Wally. We got Jon Acuff with us. He is a blogger. He has the Stuff Christians Like blog site, which I like, actually. Also a writer, too. A new book out, Quitter. That's good. What is that about, real quick?
Quitter is about closing the gap between your day job and your dream job.
Okay. What do you have anything in there about quitting your job, like advice?
I have lots. The whole thing's about that. I gave you a copy, Wally, actually.
I haven't read it yet. I hate to read.
That hurts me.
I'm
deeply.
kind of a
There's
quitter.
an audio version. You quit the book page, too?
Yeah.
I can tell. There'd be a glow otherwise.
Is there really an audio version?
Oh, yeah. I read it.
No.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
me? This rich baritone just talking to you?
Oh, my goodness.
You throw that on in bed, fall asleep, and pray.
Yeah, your voice would not get annoying at all.
That's
after
good living.
After 100 pages. You need, like, Samuel L. Jackson.
We tried, but he wanted to make a Kangol hat that had the stitching that said Quitter, as he does with every movie,
Yeah, because that
we
would
just
rule.
didn't have that in the budget.
I understand that. Well, we're going through the culture questions that you get for Dear John about, like, our Christian culture and stuff like that. So what else you got?
This is a great one. This is from Nikolai Doffing. Okay. Dear John, do you think building an extremely fancy church is a misuse of God's money or a tool to attract people?
That is an age-old debate that is hotly contested on either side of that. What do you think?
Well, I think you have to say whose definition of extremely fancy.
That's
do we
true.
use Solomon's? Like, he didn't build the temple with IKEA furniture, or do you use mine? Or how many flat screens equals too fancy?
Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on that because what one person's 7 screens in a church, which makes sense to attract people, is somebody else's excess. You're absolutely right about that.
Well, and when I was growing up, we didn't have playgrounds. I went to a church the other day. They had a skate park.
No, really?
When I was a kid, we had a ball, and if the ball got on the roof, you were done playing at church that day.
It was go to another church.
Exactly. I had to change.
I have no idea what denomination I am because we lost more balls. I went to 14 churches.
Yeah. I like kickball. I'm sorry. That's just how I was raised.
I don't apologize for that. That's an interesting thing. Like, we started something new. Like, technology in church is weird. Like, we started something new at our church, a giving kiosk, where it actually said in, like, the bulletin. So if you just forget about it, don't bring your checkbook, or use the hassle of it, you can come do your credit or debit card kind of thing. And I thought, you know what, really, if it's not important enough to you to remember to write out that check once a week, then it's probably not important to you, and you're probably not giving for the right reasons, personally. That is a point to me where technology kind of gets a little messed up. I see Zach smiling like he's like,
well, that's pretty judgmental.
Well, no, it's not judgmental. It's absolutely right.
I don't have a checkbook.
Well, okay.
And I don't carry cash.
Why not? You could get cash.
Because I don't like cash. It scares me.
That
responsibility.
Hurts me.
Yes, as a Dave Ramsey employee. I know.
Yeah,
you are breaking my heart right now in tiny little credit card pieces.
Like on what Zach makes, like he's carrying so much of 10% of what he makes. Like he's worried about being robbed.
It's like, there are gypsies where I'm at, and they can see my roll in my pocket. What am I going to do with that, Wally?
Yeah, I think you're going to survive this one, Zach. I know what you make.